So I'm going to keep beating this dead horse here. Get y'all's head out of the sand. Get y'all's head out of the sand. Get your head out of the sand. It's coming. As a matter of fact, it's already here. It started a while back. We're just now seeing it getting stronger and stronger. We got a reverse engine here. They're going to have to get him out of there. They're going to have to get Omar Ilhan out of here. They need to go get the rest of the squad out of here. Those women don't know nothing. They're plants. Plants! Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is Wednesday. Wednesday what's the date is? I don't even know, guys. It is the 7th of January. Okay. Today is Wednesday, the 7th of January, and I am broadcasting again from the penthouse suite of the mini mansion. Yes, I just got done at the radiology clinic getting my, I don't know what they took. They did my spine in the back and blood tests. I don't know what kind of blood tests they were doing, but they certainly were. I hear that Mayor Mamdani is threatening people's homes, private homes. Okay. So the American dream is now at risk in New York. And people are going to leave New York, and you're going to be left with these people who want socialism. But with socialism comes control. He's been making some quotes from some of these communists, and I'm really worried about the city of New York. And the other thing about this little guy up there is that he acts like he's the president of the U.S. He, over the Venezuela thing, he got on to Trump about it. Who is he? He's the mayor of New York. Well, that's a pretty big office, but he's not the president. He's not the commander-in-chief. He needs to take a seat and stay in his lane. He said, I've been briefed, and I've personally spoke to the president, and I have let him know, he has some elegant words. But anyway, basically, I am, telling him what I think about it, and, I'm sure that when Trump got off the phone, he was kind of laughing at that. I mean, really, I laugh at it, and I'm not an elected official. But he needs to stay in his lane. But something's got to give. Something needs to be done about this. Because my biggest beef with all of this is what he's done to the Jewish community. But taking away their protections, wanting to free Palestine. Oh, come on! Palestine was absolutely free before they did that October 7th attack. And even with the war, they're still free. But they will never stop going after Israel because that's what they were raised to do. That is their mission in life. To see, Palestine will be free. They want Israel. But why? They had a beautiful city. Gaza City was beautiful. If you go back and you look at it, why would they want to mess up something like that? Why? I don't understand. Well, I do understand. But when I was over there, I saw the hatred for the Jews. I saw it. And I wouldn't have believed it had I not seen it. And I was just speaking to people like, you know, normal. I'd go and say, "Are you a Jew?" And they were having to go behind me and say, "Oh, she's from America. She doesn't know any difference." Don't. Because they were insulted when I did that. But I didn't know that. Because I didn't know about the hatred. Gotta behave, guys. But it's real. I saw it with my 2 eyeballs and heard it with 2 ears. I'm going to tell you something else. Trump was right about this, because they told me that when the Twin Towers fell at 9/11, this Muslim country was out in the streets dancing, giving money to each other, exchanging gifts, and giving candy to each other. Dancing in the streets. That's how much they love America. Oh, and women, Muslim men think that American women are dirty. That's their word for you, dirty. Because they've watched all these movies where these women do all this kind of stuff. And you could be a Christian and you could be you could be a virgin, but you're still dirty. These are the little things I picked up on when I was over there. And he had his keffiyeh, that's the head wrap, you know. And the thing about him was he couldn't keep his mouth shut, you know. And I told him, I said, "Don't tell me these things." Because the man that owned the tourism office had dual citizenship in the U.S. and the other country. I'm not going to name the country because I don't want to be, you know. But anyway, he would have to go to America, you know, and do taxes and stuff. And he would actually use some things to write off taxes. He was shady. Let's just say that. And so I didn't want him to tell me that. I did it. But worse than that, in Kentucky, there's a church up there. And it's full of immigrants that I believe they came the right way because they were up there for years. But this was a single guy, and they were sending single women. They were taking pictures of single women, and they were sending those pictures to him for a while. And the women didn't know it. So I think that's kind of shady too. So... but he told me all this. And the other thing that he told me is that when they got in school, from the very first grade on up, that they were taught to hate the Jews. They were taught that. Now, they are in a desert, okay, so they don't have any water, and Israel has to supply their water, and yet they hate them, but yet they need resources from them, and their only thing that they can really make money off of is tourism, because there's a lot of things you can see over there from the Holy Land. So, but nobody's going there anymore because of the situation in the world. And if you go to the State Department of the State page, you can see the countries that they have said, do not travel, do not travel, do not travel. Because the world is dangerous today. Yes. But it says, it gives a travel warning. But I noticed that he started the call to prayer 5 times a day. And New Yorkers were walking around in New York and you could hear it on the loudspeaker. Oh, and guess what? When Ramadan comes, you're going to have to not eat all day long. Y'all, it really isn't funny. It isn't funny. But yeah, they want to take away from the individual and give to the collective. So here's the deal. Okay, here is the deal. So you've been in New York. Maybe you were raised there and you grew up and you worked in one of these artsy things like advertising, marketing, whatever. You did photography, you did music, you did all these things that a lot of people do in New York. You worked very hard. You raised your family. You bought a house off the sweat of your brow. You paid for it. Where other people were not working, didn't want to work. Maybe they got a Section 8 or what they call it, housing choice, or maybe they got food stamps and you were paying all these taxes all these years and you stuck with the 30-year program paying off your home and you raised your kids and now you're retired and you have a beautiful home. You pay taxes and insurance on that home and you're comfortable. You know, you got your retirement, your kids are grown, they're working their way. You want your kids to grow up in the same America, have the same things that you had, but yet, no, they're not going to have that because this guy wants to make the individual go away and everybody be in a collective. And that means, you're going to have to share your property. There will be no more private property after you worked your whole life and believed in a system that was going to support your efforts and your hard work. Okay? So somebody off the street can be included in the collective and your home is up in there in the collective. Y'all better do something. Something's got to be done. Now, I'm telling you, something has got to be done. If you don't think that this is true, I wish every one of you could go for 1 month, not now, but I wish that y'all could have experienced it the way that I did, and then you would understand what I'm trying to tell you. But don't believe me. Look, you don't have to believe me. Just go on YouTube and look up honor killings. Look up Robert Spencer. Look up how they treat women. Look up how they lie. You can educate yourself. You can. You can educate yourself. Y'all need to get educated. Y'all need to get educated. You need to educate your children. I'm telling you, you need to do that. Y'all need to get educated. You need to educate your children, your loved ones, everybody against this threat. So when you see it happening, somebody running for mayor and they're Muslim, you better believe they are not your friends. They are not your friends. They can't be friends. They're booked for visit. They lie. You see, they know the end days too. But there's a I'm not sure what his name is. There's supposed to be one prophet that comes back. But now they do believe in Jesus, but they don't believe that he is the Son of God. They don't believe he was raised from the dead. They believe he is just a prophet. I'm so upset. How could a city, how could a city that was attacked on 9/11 and lost all those precious souls indoors and elect a Muslim mayor? How does that happen? Is it because they think they're going to do something to Trump? I know Letitia wants to, but she's facing jail right now. Do they hate Trump so much they would do this? But you know, if he calls again, I bet you Trump won't even take his call. But seriously, how does it happen? You destroy the Twin Towers with all those people in there. Lose fire, our firemen. It was a terrorist attack. And people say, well, it was an inside job, but I have to ask you this. What nationality was it of the guys that were flying those airplanes? What was their nationality? They weren't American born. They might have had green cards. They definitely were learning how to fly those planes, but they were not American. But now they're looking at those fraudulent ballots right now. There was fraudulent ballots. But now he's a liar. He's a liar. Because Islam promotes taqiyya, which is you're able to lie. I'll tell y'all something. Y'all better take heed. I know y'all don't want to hear it. And I hate to tell it to you this way, but y'all gonna have to, I gotta get my jacket off. I'm just sick and daggone tired of it. Go to get my test today. I can't hardly walk in the parking lot. I'm so tired of it. I am freaking tired of it. I didn't say a bad word. I'm making my mouth be nicer this year. But I'm tired of it. You can't have a bountiful America when you're letting people come in like that and take over in the in Congress and mayors and all this kind of stuff, taking their taking their oaths on top of a Quran. So help me God. Which God? Yeah, come on. Okay. I hope that Trump will do something very, very soon. Very soon. Because I'm getting a little sick of looking at it. Every time I turn on, there's something on Facebook or there's something on YouTube. It's like this guy is like everywhere. And I'm basically sick of looking at him. He's probably inbred. The woman that he's married to probably is his cousin because they marry their cousins quite frequently. And if you notice, Omar Ilhan married her brother. Now, I don't know if they consummated or if they just, did for marriage. But that's jail time. That's jail time. That's federal jail time. Because, just think of all these people that... Let me tell you something. I know a little bit of something about USCIS. That's U.S. Customs and Immigration Services. You know what? I know a little something about it, because I almost did it. You got to go through form after form after form, and those forms cost a lot of money. And even when the guy has to wait over there, it takes about 2 years to get everything just about settled. Then they got to have interviews. They got to be vetted. And then once they get cleared to come over here, they still got to have another form. And then it doesn't stop there, and you have to have a sponsor. That would have been me, but I didn't. But you know what? The thing is it just doesn't stop. They only get a 2-year conditional, and then the woman or the whoever sponsored them is on the hook for 10 years, even though they can get they get their permanent in 2 years. They're still, the sponsor's still on the hook for them for 10 years anyway, because they sponsored them. If they use any benefits, then the woman or whoever sponsored them would have to pay for it. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't going to do that, because if you can't trust somebody, but you see, they lie. They lie. I'm telling you, they lie. But I'm all over that. But excuse me, guys. I look kind of bad today. I'm going to turn on my air conditioner. I'm going to try to make something out of this. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to see if I can.